Please, Your Excellency. Well, good morning, everybody. Your Excellency, Ambassador, Consul General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Tuttle. I'm Vice Chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, and on behalf of our entire team, a very, very warm welcome. Welcome back to many of you as well. Your Excellency, we know there are heavy demands on your time these days, and particularly during your trip to New York, and we appreciate you taking a little bit of time to be with us today. You know, it's a strong symbol of the ever-strengthening partnership between not only our businesses, but our markets and ultimately our countries as well. You know, there's a lot of things that are top of mind for you, and hopefully we'll hear those in today's dialogue as well. I was just mentioning to the delegation that we are very, very proud of the longstanding and deep partnership between the New York Stock Exchange and Italy. You know, a number of leading Italian companies are listed here on the New York Stock Exchange and have the ability to raise capital that they can use to grow and expand their businesses, launch new products, tap into new geographies, along the way create jobs and improve quality of life across Italy, across the United States, and around the world. But also importantly, it's an opportunity for investors, institutional investors and individual investors. It provides them an avenue or a pathway to invest in Italy. That we very much enjoy hosting programs like this where we can bring together leaders from the public sector and the private sectors to not only share ideas, but ultimately build relationships and deliver outcomes as well. So the agenda, it's timely, it's topical. You'll probably hear a lot of what's on the mind of the minister and others with regard to not only the geopolitical environment, but the macroeconomic environment and what we can do to further strengthen not only the bilateral relationship between our countries, but also the transatlantic partnership as well. So without any further ado, I will turn it over to our co-host of today's program and a great friend of the New York Stock Exchange, Mario Calvo-Platero. Great to see you, my friend.
So good to see you. Thank you. Well, while you are here, I thought, Vice Chairman, that I would show you a little prop. So this is a hat that was done when we brought Zegna public with Invest Industrial. We had a merger, so it's a symbol of how important it is. So I hope, I cannot give it to you. I would love, but it's very personal, but I'll wear it for a second so that we are all going to see. And there is also the date.
I will tell you, Mario, yes.
12/21, and everybody was very exciting, especially.
I will tell you that became the most prized possession by many people at the exchange because as I was telling the minister when we came here, you're either Irish or Italian. So they were very proud. But thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for those kind words and for allowing us to be here in this beautiful boardroom at the New York Stock Exchange where key pages of economic history and history itself has been written over the century. And thank you all for being here this early morning. I know some of you were very early. So Minister Tajani, you must have a great following here in New York because everybody came at 7:30 straight, so that's very good news. We are honored that you accepted our first J Award since COVID on the first trip of a cabinet member of the Meloni government to this country, a trip which will bring you to the United Nations to address the first anniversary of the Russian unprovoked attack of Ukraine. I will not get into details of Minister Tajani political history. You will find them in the brochure that you all have at your table. Let me just say that he was first elected to the European Parliament in '94 and rose through the ranks, becoming EU Commissioner for Transportation, for the Industry and Entrepreneurship. In 2017, he was elected President of the European Parliament, and until last year, he serves as Chair of the Committee on Constitutional Affairs, always supporting the transatlantic relationship and within that context, the economy and growth and export and trade. Last October, the Honorable Tajani was appointed Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation in the new Meloni government. I'm grateful to Madam Ambassador Mariangela Zappia, our Honorary Chair, and to Consul General Fabrizio De Micheli for having supporting J members and the American and Italian companies part of Minister Tajani welcoming committee to the New York Stock Exchange, where he will soon receive the J Award. Let me call to the stage my fellow J board member for the ceremony and the welcoming committee. If you can please come up and we read the motivation and proceed. Giampaolo Pioli, Gisella Levi Carotti, Luca Balestra, these are board members of J. And then we have members of the welcoming committee, Simone Bempora, Assicurazioni Generali, Maria Francesca Carli, BDT and Company, Carlo Tugnoli, Edizione SPA, Enrico Viale, Enel North America, Marco Margheri, INI, Matteo Torri, Ferrari, North America, Exor, Marco Galbiati, Fincantieri, Marine Group, Pierpaolo Monti, Intesa San Paolo, Monica Mandelli, KKR, Alfredo Di Innocenzi, Lavazza Americas, Riccardo Casale, Leonardo, Christian Steffens, Unicredit. Well, we almost have a soccer team here ready to play. And I would say that this is a testament, Minister Tajani, of the kind of support that you have here, because we have here the Italian economy represented on this podium. And so I would like to ask you to join us so that we can read the mention for the award that you will receive. This is the award. It's going to be very complicated to open it, but we hope we can show it. Okay, we can put it here. It doesn't fall. Anyway, this is the mention for the award, Minister. Minister Antonio Tajani, having established your staunch loyalty to the transatlantic relationship and alliance, your leadership in fostering the Italian government commitment to defend the Ukrainian quest for freedom, your dedication to Europe, and your service as a member of the European Parliament, as EU Commissioner and President of the European Parliament, we, the Board of J, Gruppo Esponenti Italiani, have voted unanimously to recognize you as the recipient of the 2023 J Award. Needless to say how important it is from a symbolic viewpoint that this award is being delivered here at the New York Stock Exchange, the epitome of transparency, merit, and free flow of capital, values that are under attack at this critical juncture of international relations when an aggression has been perpetrated not only against the country, Ukraine, but against the system of Western market democracies based fundamentally on the respect of freedom rights, fair competition, free elections, and the rule of law. Key values that you are defending to help companies, including Italian and European companies, to reach their potential and to keep thriving as tools to foster economic growth, employment, innovation, and prosperity. For all of the above, let me recognize you with our annual J Award, this Arnoldo Pomodoro sculpture, which symbolizes the strength of the transatlantic. I would ask my fellow friends and board members to take their seat. And
Much better than our soccer.
If you want to have a few words.
Grazie mille. Buongiorno a tutti, good morning everybody. Thank you for hosting me today. Thank you very much for this prize. First of all, I want to thank the New York Stock Exchange for hosting me today, also for this very important meeting. We are at the center of the global economy, as I said during our meeting before. Transatlantic relations are the most important point for our foreign policy, with our engagement in Europe. We are two faces of the same coin. For this, we need to stay united, as in the past, but also in the future. Because now we need to defend our values, to defend rule of law, to defend democracy, to defend the human rights. Italy, and many, many countries with the United States are strongly engaged in defense of the independence and the freedom of Ukraine. Yesterday, our Prime Minister was in Kiev with Mr. Zelensky. We are working hard also in defense of the Ukrainian citizens, not only weapons, but also aid for the electricity sector, for example, because we need to support the citizen this difficult month in this country under Russian attack. But we are strongly engaged in defense of Ukraine, but we want peace. But peace is peace with justice. A defeat of the Ukrainian army is not peace. If we want to achieve an agreement in favor of peace, we need to defend the independence of Ukraine. Then it's possible to achieve an agreement. But before, we need to protect the independence of Ukraine. We are strongly engaged. There are many proposals. For example, it's possible to decide through an agreement in a free zone around Zaporizhia nuclear center. If the Russians want to have a debate with us, they want really to achieve peace, we are ready on this. Please stop the battle around Zaporizhia. Please open the corridor for grain for Africa, because now only 2 or 3 boats are leaving, 3 ships that are leaving Ukraine. We need 20, 25 every day if we want to help the African countries. For this, our strong position is important. But it's important also to work at economic level together. Of course, there are different situations. The American inflation is completely different of the Italian inflation. Here he's coming from inside the United States. In Europe, it's coming from abroad because Russia. But Italy is an industrial country. For us, it's very important to strengthen our industrial network. There are 4 million of small and medium-sized companies in Italy. We want to increase also the number of companies working in export sector. We want to explore more markets. We want to be more present also in America, because there are also a lot of Italian people living here, but there are also a lot of companies. We need to increase the number of the companies. I am in favor absolutely of the internationalization against the localization of our companies. We need to do business also in America. We need to work more in the export sector. There is the Italian sounding, that is much better also for the Americans. To eat made in Italy and not Italian sounding. For this, we need to work hard in this direction. Talking with the Americans for achieving good agreements. I know the agreements on trade are the agreements between the European Union and the USA, but also it's possible through the European agreements to work hard for supporting our export. Our export is crucial also against our public debt, because it's another important point for our economy. I want to organize with my colleagues Mission for Growth to America to accompany our companies for organize joint ventures in America, for investing more in America, for doing business in America. But we are ready for strengthening the cooperation also at business level with America. The Americans are our best friends. We never forget the engagement of the Americans for our freedom against Nazism, against communism. This is important for us because behind us there are values. Our engagement in Ukraine is in defense of our values. The engagement of the young American soldiers in Europe, World War II, was in defense of democracy. This is important because it's impossible to be a politician without values. Also, doing business is important to work for the citizens. We want to have more business. We want to do business. We want to strengthen the entrepreneurs. We want to work in favor of the entrepreneurs. But why? Because through the entrepreneurs, we will have more jobs. Our goal is to have more jobs for the Italians, but also for the Americans. We are friends, of course. For this, we need to strengthen companies and entrepreneurs. Also, it's important to work with our banks because it's impossible to do business without banks around the companies, supporting companies. Also here, I am happy because there are a lot of Italian banks here. To be present in the New York Stock Exchange, it's important also for our companies, also for our economy. This government is a government pro-business. We want to work hard in favor of industrial policy. Real economy is crucial. As I said during our face-to-face before this speech, before this prize, thank you another time, on the importance of the cooperation in industrial sector, for example, on raw materials. We have the same problems, Americans and Europeans. We are industrial countries. The price of raw materials is very dangerous for the competitiveness of our companies. Because the price of the raw materials, rare earth, first of all, are in Chinese hand. We need to have a better organization between us, Americans, Italians, Japan, but we need to look at South America also if we want to keep rare earth, lithium, for example. We need to look at Africa. Do business in South America and Africa, Europeans and Americans together, is crucial for the future, for growth, for jobs. This is important for me to say here with you. Of course, thank you for the prize. I am very happy for being here, for underline the importance of the economy and the business, of the internationalization of our companies, for our government. The new government is strongly engaged on this, and we look at America and not at China. Thank you very much.
So we do, thank you. That was a wonderful speech. Thank you, Minister Tajani.
L'ho pagato prima, eh?
Hello, hello. Yes. We're going to have a few Q&A and then I'll open up to the public. So far it's been fun, so now maybe we should address some of the issues that are open. And there was something very worrying just yesterday on the side of the wonderful visit that Prime Minister Meloni had in the Ukraine and President Biden visit. We heard from Putin, who said that he was going to cancel basically the last segment of the START agreement. Is that a nuclear threat that is coming against from Russia? How worried are you? And where are we besides hoping to move towards peace? What is a roadmap to move in that direction?
I want to be optimistic for this, and then I also during my short speech the importance of the free zone around Zaporizhzhia. This small agreement should be a message against the nuclear. I am working hard with the General Director of the UN Agency on Nuclear for achieving this goal. Not easy, but I think this is a message, a political message also to Russia. To use the nuclear should be a criminal decision. But I think finally, for Putin, should be a super big mistake to use the nuclear. And finally, I think it's a message against us, more, I think, more propaganda than reality. But we need to pay attention. We need to be prudent, no mistakes by us. But I think finally, to use the nuclear should be the hand of Putin.
Mm-hmm. What mistakes, you said no mistakes from us, what mistakes the West you think could...
we need to be prudent. There are many provocations. Also, finally, close to the borders. As you know, the Russian Air Force, every day there is a provocation. With the Italian Air Force, for example. For this, we need to be prudent. Also, the pilots, the soldiers employed on the border NATO. We need to be prudent, no reaction when there is a provocation. Because they want to present NATO and the West as aggressive countries against Russia. We are not against Russia. We are in defense of the Ukraine. It's completely different. The problem is Putin, it's not Russia. It's not Russia. We are not against the Russians. We are against the regime. We are in defense. We send our weapons not for an attack against Russia. We send our weapons in defense of Ukraine. It's completely different.
Thank you. Well, your government has been a staunch supporter of this, and you keep delivering this message, and Prime Minister Meloni did yesterday. We know that there are some voices in the political spectrum in Italy that have been creating some issues, and namely, just to talk about the elephant in the room, Mr. Berlusconi. He recently took a position...
You have another question?
Yeah. He recently took a position that was an embarrassment to the government, and for many people an embarrassment to himself, considering what a staunch ally of the US he used to be at the time, and some people are questioning that. So what do you think his motivations are? Are motivations of internal political reasons that he's doing this, just to say, I am here? Is it because he's too close of a friend of Putin? Is it an issue for the government?
On this, I want to be very clear. The Italian government, my party, and the leader of my party, we are against Russian invasion. We are in favor of independence of Ukraine. And in the European Parliament, and in the Italian Parliament, every time Forza Italia and Berlusconi too, we voted and we vote against Russia in favor of Ukraine. I am the Deputy Prime Minister, and I am the Minister of Foreign Affairs. My position is the position of my party. of course, Berlusconi is a man in favor of peace. Do you remember the meeting organized in Pratica di Mare between Bush and Putin? Berlusconi worked for the peace between the West and Russia, for stopping China. Berlusconi is totally pro-American. Do you remember his speech in the American Congress talking on the friendship between Italy and America? Berlusconi was one of the best friends of the President Bush. The President Bush is the President of the United States of America. Every time during Berlusconi government, we worked hard in defense of the transatlantic relations. Do you remember the Italian engagement in Iraq? Do you remember the Italian engagement with Berlusconi in Afghanistan? Every time Berlusconi supported NATO and America. But he wanted to achieve peace. Now, he was a friend of Putin. Now, also Berlusconi condemned the Putin positions. This is very clear, this is position. But he wants to achieve, as of all us, he wants to achieve peace. But also Berlusconi wants to achieve peace with justice. And we voted every time, and we will vote every time in favor of the independence of Ukraine. My party voted every time for sending weapons to Ukraine. This is very, very clear, no doubt on this, no doubt on this.
Thank you. You mentioned the European Parliament just a moment ago, and Mr. Weber has used very nice words towards you, your good friends. Looking forward at the next couple of years, what are the chances, you think, that the party of Ms. Meloni could be included in the PPE?
Giorgia Meloni is the leader of the Conservative Party at European level. My personal position is, after European election 2024, I am in favor of an agreement between EPP and Conservative. I remember my election as President of the European Parliament. I was elected thanks to an agreement, Liberals, Conservative, and EPP, against the Socialists. After the vote, I was the President of the European Parliament for this. It's a good choice, it's a victory, more clear. I respect everybody, I respect the Socialists, the Greens, of course. I respect also the Communists. But we are different. If we talk also this morning on the values, we need to be clear. We need to say, or on the center-right, or on the left. We are the center-right. For this, I think it's impossible to have Meloni inside the EPP. But I think it's important to work for an agreement between EPP and Conservative and also Liberals for a new majority in the European Parliament. Because personally, I disagree with any political choices on climate change. We need a strong engagement against climate change, of course. But because I am a strong supporter of the entrepreneurs and want more jobs in my country in Europe, we need to write good rules, but with achieving goals. To have too much ambitious goals for our industry, for our agriculture, it's not a good choice against climate change. If we want to be real against climate change, we need to have goals, ambitious, but not too much ambitious. Because if it's impossible for agriculture sector, industrial sector to achieve this goal, we will kill our companies. I remember my vote against the decision of the European Commission to stop the production of the cars, non-electric cars, from 2035. This is a big mistake. We will lose 70,000 jobs in Italy. My proposal, our proposal is the proposal of the European People Party, not to stop 100% of the CO2 emissions, to stop 90%, only 10% for non-electric cars. A small door for paving the way for a better future. Of course, we go to the electric cars, but step by step. 2035 is the red line, very complicated for our automotive sector. For this, I say it's better to change the coalitions in the European Parliament, the European Union. Much better EPP and Conservative and Liberals.
Thank you. Talking about the economy, you mentioned inflation before and the different nature of inflation here and in Europe. Well, the Biden Inflation Reduction Act has created some issues in the transatlantic trade relationship because it has been quite protectionist. I know at many different levels, from industry sectors that are complaining and are questioning whether America shouldn't be a little softer with Europe, considering that Europe is on the front line of the war with Ukraine, paying, as you say, with high energy prices. At the same time, it goes also down to the detail of small regions in Italy, for example. There are some Italian products, I think salami or finocchione from Umbria, from small regions that are suffering from it. So there is a huge spectrum. So what can you do? When you talk to...
There are two different problems. First of all, Biden and the American government is working in defense of the American companies, of course. I understand why they decide to invest $400 billion for supporting the economy. It's not a good choice for Europe. We need to react at the economic level, but for me it's not a good choice to work for more state aids, state by state. This solution is a solution against the competition among the European Union, is a solution only in favor of Germany. I am very clear on this. It's much better to have another recovery plan, to have an European public debt, Eurobonds, for example, for having a package in favor growth of our industry. On trade, long meeting 2 days ago in Munich with Mrs. Tai, talking on this. I think I want to be optimistic after the meeting. We are opening on Finocchione, and there's more important products coming from Umbria and Toscana for the export. But the relations are very good, and we want to work hard in defense of the export of our products. I think it's possible to achieve with the Americans a good agreement. We are paving the way for achieving good results.
Thank you. I'll have 2 more questions, and then I will open it to the floor in case anyone wants to think about...
Not too much difficult.
A question or two for the minister. The first one is about China. You met with Wang Yi in Europe, and I know China has been sort of opening a door for trade and to say, we want European countries to export more to China. Do you think that there may be some kind of detente in the tension between Europe and China? The German Prime Minister went to China. What is the Italian position on this?
2 meetings last week with Wang Yi in Rome dinner and then meeting with the President of the Republic. Our position is very clear. We want to involve China for an action in favor of peace. China is crucial for pushing Russia. When he told me Xi Jinping will present, probably today, a project of peace with 12 points. I don't know the content of this strategy, but it's important, this action in favor of peace. With China, the relations are complicated because it's a big market, but for us, it's crucial the level playing field. Without a level playing field, it's very difficult to work with the Chinese. We need to defend, I'm not protectionist, but we need to defend our steel sector, our bicycle sector, our ceramical sector, and other sectors, because there is social dumping, economic dumping, environmental dumping. Also for the public procurement, it's not easy for our companies to be present. The access to public procurement is very, very complicated. He told me, no, we are changing the situation, now it's much better. I want to check. But also in Indo-Pacific region, we want to have this situation. For us, Taiwan is an island, and we want Taiwan free. Our policy is one China policy, okay. We respect China, but we need to stay in this situation. This is very clear for us. But if they want to do business with us, we are ready. But we are ready also for investments. Chinese investments, it was very clear. It has been very clear with Quan He. We want more Chinese investments, but for staying in Italy, not for keep our know-how and to live in Italy in 1 year. Our know-how is crucial for the competitiveness of Italian companies. For this, we will defend our know-how. Investments, okay, but real investments. To leave Italy after 1 year, it's impossible for us.
Thank you. Last question is about a deal that happened in Italy that was not very much welcome here in the US, which is the Lukoil Sicilian refineries in Priolo that has been sold to a Cyprus company, that private equity, that many say could be a front for Russia. So what can you say to the US to reassure them? Is there a way out of that deal? Is it a done deal?
Don't worry. American friends, don't worry. The Italian government worked only in defense of jobs, because in this company, they are working thousands and thousands Italian citizens. To lose this job should be a disaster for the economy in this part of Sicily. But our choice is a choice in defense of the jobs. It's not the choice in defense of the Russian interests. Italy, Guardia di Finanza especially, is working hard against the oligarchs. Now there are, in the hands of Guardia di Finanza, more or less 2.5 billion euro coming from the oligarchs. This is a record in Europe. This, Italy is strongly engaged on this. We respect the agreements, we respect the sanctions. We are strongly engaged with our friends, Americans and NATO, in defense of our values in Ukraine.
Thank you. So let's open it to the floor. Any questions? 1 and 2.
It's
Okay,
not
Lally,
too much difficult, please.
why don't you start, Lally, and then we go to Pierpaolo Monti. I will be
Minister, I believe Mario said you were a strong supporter, you and your government, of the war in Ukraine. I wondered if you had a vision of how it ends and when.
I asked not difficult questions. This is very complicated. We want to achieve peace, but I think we need to be strong in defense of Ukraine if we want to achieve peace. It's difficult to understand what Putin wants to do, because I think Putin in the beginning decided an aggression for 3 days, more or less. In 3 days, our army will conclude the attack. 1 year now, 1 year. We need a solution. First of all, we need the freedom of Ukraine. For this, our engagement, the American engagement, weapons, helps, goods, are important for stopping the Russians. And then we need China, Turkey, also America, are pushing both Russians and Ukrainians for staying around the table, for achieving peace. But it's not easy now. I think before we need the freedom of Ukraine. I want to be optimistic, but I'm not too much optimistic. But we need to work hard also for peace, of course. During my meeting with Juan He, I pushed hard, please. We need a strong Chinese action for peace. I was talking during my trip to Ankara. I said the same, talking with my colleague before the earthquake, of course. Because for a corridor, green corridor for grain is very important, Turkey action on this. It's difficult to know, but I think finally I count on the Americans for achieving good results, and then for peace, and then because we need to start with the reconstruction. Reconstruction is very important. We need a lot of investments. We need a lot of good companies. We are working hard also on this for paving the way for an important Italian presence in this country. And this country will be part of the European Union, will be part of our internal market. For this, it's crucial to be present now and also tomorrow. And the timing, I don't know, we need to ask.
Thank you. Pierpaolo Monti, Banca Intesa, San Paolo.
Buongiorno. The United States have begun a huge effort to reinshore certain production, certain strategic production, to bring back the supply chain.
We want to do the same.
Exactly. So reinshoring means not only bringing back the production in the United States, but also possibly in other countries that the United States consider reliable and friend. So Italy is a natural partner for that, and certain production are already in our country in progress in this connection. What the government will do and can do to facilitate this role of Italy becoming a location for certain production, and whether the future presidency of the G7 will help our case with the US.
I think, as I said, I am in favor of internationalization against delocalization. For this, it's possible also to use the new American decision for more also Italian investments, but only for the internationalization. Internationalization is not to leave Italy. Then we need to work with new rules, less bureaucracy, less taxation in our countries. We need reform in this sector, justice, taxation, and bureaucracy. We need to change if we want to compete, because it's difficult for an investor to work in Italy because the rules are too much complicated. It's not easy to invest in our country. We need more investments, but if we want to achieve this goal, we need to change our rules. This is crucial. For this, we are working on this. The reforms are one of the most important points for growth of our country. Justice, the timing of justice is a disaster. More or less are 2-3 points of our GDP. The long timing of justice, civil justice. This is a big mistake. We need to change it. The bureaucracy is an incredible burden for everybody. You as entrepreneurs, you are bankers, you know the problems with our bureaucracy. We need to organize a revolution in this sector if we want to be very competitive at global level. With the Americans, it's possible to do more. Of course, the Americans are working for the American interests, not working for our interests. For this, we need to be active, to work hard. We need to be more present, also at political level. Because I think for you, it's important not to have more money, to have good rules, and to have the political support for our action in Italy and abroad. I am here for supporting also you. I want to send a message to you, to the American authorities. The Italian government is behind our investments, is behind our companies, is behind our banks working in America, for supporting at political level your action. I think this is a good message to the Americans, because I think they want the interlocutors, credible interlocutors. We want to be credible. I have a meeting with Mr. Blinken on Friday. I will want to talk also on this. I have spoken with Mrs. Tai last week in Munich on trade policy in defense of our products. But we need to be present and we need to talk with our interlocutors. If we are absent, it's our responsibility. It's not American or other countries' responsibility. We need to be present. We need to work hard. We need to stay also here to invite our interlocutors, American entrepreneurs. If you want, the door in Rome are open for you. Also, the stock exchange is very, very important because, as I said, this is the heart of the global economy. For this, we need to be present here. It's a political mess. My presence here, of course, thank you for the prize. I want also to send a political message to New York Stock Exchange, to the American companies, to the Italian companies. The Italian government is here for talking with the counterparts, but also for supporting our companies.
Thank you. We have time possibly for one more question. If there is anyone else on the floor. Yes, we have there a question coming, and then just a brief administrative announcement. Then after this question, we should be tight because the minister has to go down to the floor to visit the New York Stock Exchange floor. So we always stay seated while the minister will leave the room. But please, Viviana Mazza, Corriere della Sera.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister, for doing this. So to what extent, to your knowledge, is Mr. Wang Yi talking about the plan with the Ukrainians and coordinating with them? And also I wanted to ask you, you mentioned two proposals, one about the Zaporizhzhia plant and one about, helping ship more grain.
Green corridors.
Yeah, the two proposals, they're very similar to 2 points in Zelensky's peace plan. And I wanted to ask you if they are somehow based on that. Finally...
I'm sorry, Viviana.
Okay,
Finally,
sorry.
no. Sorry.
She's a journalist.
Yeah.
I was journalist for this.
I also-
I agree.
I also
Agree.
think-
Thank you. No. But no, this is two concrete proposals. If we want to start for a dialogue between Russians and Ukrainians, we need to start from concrete points. The nuclear danger is a concrete point. It's a danger for everybody, also for the Ukrainians. The green corridors are crucial not only for Ukrainians, it's also crucial to send green to Africa. Because without green, we will have a lot of social problems. We will have more and more people leaving Africa, going to Europe. This is important. Today, as you know, there is a debate, a vote in the United Nations on a text proposed by West countries. Is a good text, very moderate, not aggressive, in favor of peace, in defense of the rules. I appreciated the speech of Kamala Harris in Munich, very clear. And I underline, we are in favor of peace, but it's impossible to achieve peace without rules, without the defense of human rights. This is crucial. But Russia started, not the West. The West is helping only a democratic country, a free country as Ukraine. For this, I pushed hard the Chinese for doing more in favor of peace, not helping Russia, but helping Russia for peace, not for weapons or more information. This is crucial, but if my points are part of the Zelensky point, it's normal. Zaporizhia is very dangerous situation for everybody. The danger is a rocket from Russians, from Ukrainians in Zaporizhia is more dangerous than Chernobyl. For this, we need to protect also the Ukrainians living here, but not only the Ukrainians. But this is concrete action for peace. If the Russians want to achieve peace, we need to start on this point, concrete point. But I don't know if they want to do it or they want to continue.
Thank you, Minister Tajani. Thank you very much. We're done. Thank you very much for your thoughts and for your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you very much
accepting
for
our
hosting me.
award.
I am very happy. Thank you very much for the prize. Thank you, sir, for hosting me today before and in this beautiful building, new organization. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Count on me. I want to invite you to Rome, but I will be here another time, early.
Okay, so let's wait a second. I think the